Hi everyone, this weekend we're going to add an additional solar panel to our Thor Magnitude. So we have if you guys have been following along, we have the 2021 Thor Magnitude, and it comes with a solar package setup, and it only comes with one panel. So our current system already comes with the inverter. The inverter, when on, it takes from the two batteries down here the two lead acid batteries, 6 volts each, totaling up to 12 volts. So if you guys have been following along, we do maintenance. We recently put distilled water in them, so it does require maintenance. So the inverter is a 2000, let me see, watt inverter. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a little dark in here. I tried turning on the lights. So the inverter takes from the two batteries, and what the inverter powers is the big fridge, the small fridge. There is a USB outlet up there. None of the GFCI plugs will work, so there are 3 additional USB outlets in the room, right here by the vanity, by the bed over there, on the other side of the nightstand over here, and the nightstand over here. The non-GFCI outlets, so the ones in the bedroom, does work. So this one I charge my phone every night, and that one works as well. So only the items in here work. Like I said, the non-GFCI outlets do not work. And the fans, so the max air fan and the bath ceiling fan works. So that's all the inverter will pull from. So with the one panel, we're hoping to, I guess, get a longer charge, but I guess not to drain the batteries so quickly, I want to say. So we got an additional 100 watt solar panel, and we're going to connect it to our current system. So right now, this is a 10 amp controller that came with our system. So we have a Go Power setup. So it's this 10 amp controller with one solar panel. So right now, with everything on, this is how much amps is coming off of that one panel. So we have the fridge going on. We got, a variety of things that are going on that I just went through. The fridge works, the little fridge outside works, and those outlets work. And then we have 2 fans going on right now. So this is currently what we're at right now. So we're going to just get the roof cleaned up. We're going to prep it, get the studs all located, line it all up. And we're going to see what this extra 100 watts is going to do for us. So once we get the panels plugged in, we're going to get the numbers back up. But we're also going to wait overnight, see how it does at the end of the night, check in the morning, and then check again in the daytime. So we're going to keep checking this periodically to see what an improvement, an additional 100 works for us. We're not trying to add any additional appliances, so all the items that I ran over, those are the items that are going to continue to work. If you plan to add like another appliance or something, you're probably gonna have to change this setup, because if you're trying to run like a coffee maker or anything like all those GFCI outlets, you're probably going to need more batteries or a different battery setup. So either an additional lead acid battery, or often people just switch to lipos. So currently we're just trying to maintain the battery that we have now, because come on, realistically, if you just bought a new rig, if you have the money, great, you can definitely change your battery setup. That's awesome. But with us right now, we have so many other projects, toys to maintain. And what we're going to try to do now, it'll be a year next month that we've had this Magnitude. We're just trying to keep it and see how long we can get use out of these stock batteries. So thanks for joining us. We will get to it. All right, here is what we went with. We went with Renogy. I laid this out. Here are all the items that we're going to be needing just to add this one panel. So here's the panel. This is a 100 watt panel from Renogy. So along with the 100 watt, you're going to need these connectors and these as well. These other connectors is so that you can connect to the current system that we have up on the Magnitude. And these are the panels to panel extensions. So this is yeah, so we'll figure it out. And once I get up there, I can explain it a little bit better. And here are the mounts to mount the panels up onto the roof. So right now, we're gonna need, oh, and we also picked up some Dicor so that we can seal it up once we screw it in. So right now, while Kevin's up there, I gotta get him a tape measure, stud finder, and a marker so we can mark where we're going to be laying that out. So I'll get up there and hand these over to him. He's up there cleaning the roof of the Magnitude right now. I don't want to jump. Well, here, can you just grab these first so nothing's in my hand? A little bit. Maybe I'll climb up through the ladder on the other side. So that Dicor product that we got, we also picked up the same brand of cleaner, and look at how well it's doing. So we're just cleaning the surface right now, getting everything prepped. I gave them the stud finder. Once we have everything prepped and cleaned, we're gonna get everything marked out so we can lay everything out. And I'm assuming the current connections, so the current connections are right there. So they made their own connection. Oh, so it's not running anywhere else. That's pretty cool, because most RVs, I always see them running it like under somewhere to protect it from the elements, but I'm guessing they created it. I'm gonna go around. I don't feel comfortable jumping on over the roof, guys. I'm a little scaredy cat, and I'll get a closer look into that side for you guys, and I'll get a layout of what we're gonna get, what we're attempting to lay out. Alright guys, I made it up. I went through the ladder, and here's how they connected it. So I didn't realize it was exposed like this most of the time. I've been seeing other videos where they just have it running under some vent or whatnot. Alright, so Kevin's got the panel up here so we can measure it out. Oh, we won't? Well, good thing I got it on Amazon because I can return those two, right? Okay, so I think we're going to go here because Kevin made a good point that we spaced it out a little bit so that there's walking room, because we have been up, if you guys have been following along, we have been up here quite frequently to monitor the slide out awning. Because of those windy days out at the desert, we want to be able to access these corner awnings just in case for some reason. So at least this panel won't be in too much of our ways when we need to access the slide out over here. I just finished bringing up all the tools that we were going to be needing, and I kind of put these back in the bag because we may not need these extensions, because the way we laid it, we'll get everything all mounted and stuff. I think right now we're getting the mounts onto the panels.
Yes.
So you've already marked where you're gonna screw it?
Yeah, I found the studs already.
Okay, so real quick, the mounting brackets did come with its own screws, which is here. These screws. So they do have tapping screws with a little rubber, what is that? The rubber washer right there?
Yes.
And
so these go into the RV, the self-tap, and then they usually mount underneath here through this hole.
So, but we got these additional tapping screws, right?
So we're not gonna mount these through here. We're not gonna use these to go through here. What we're gonna do is mount it through here. So if we do need to remove the panels, we could just unscrew here and then take the panel off. Because if you do it this way, every time you want to service the panel or you want to change the panel out, you're gonna have to undo these.
That makes sense, because you can't go under there once you Dicor it and everything.
Yeah,
so instead of
interrupt any of the seals.
That makes sense, because so instead of screwing it under where you're supposed to traditionally do it, the two there makes sense. So if for some reason your panel cracks or whatever and you just want to change out one panel, you can just take it off, because over here, if you see, there's no way that we can get into this. We would have to like scrape all this off and whatnot. So what Kevin's doing is just so that we just take the two screws off right here, and we can just take the panel out, and for some reason if we need to maintenance it, etc. or whatnot. Alright, so we're gonna get ready to unhook the current connection. Alright, so the connectors we're trying to take out, it is a little bit of a, you gotta jimmy, like Kevin's just using a flathead to squeeze pinch those things. Yes. So you're gonna need that, like some kind of tool to help pinch out the current connectors. So we got that unhooked, and we're gonna use the bridges that we bought so that it connects into the Renogy panel.
So as you can see on these, negatives and positives, so there's no way of messing up. So I believe this male most likely goes in here. And this is, oh, this thing turns. So let's see. Oh, wow, I like that.
So yeah, so when you're adding on, don't forget to get those, because if you're buying these on Amazon or the Renogy site, they will list, you know, recommendations like, oh, frequently bought items together, or do you need this added? Make sure you look at those connections, because you're gonna need that. And then we got the extensions, so we may need the extensions or we may not. We're gonna see, because they're right there and it's gonna hook onto, you know, the bridge. So we're gonna see how much slack we have. So we got a 15 feet extension, so I think that is way too much. So definitely go down if you have the same setup like ours, how it's close to each other, because the price is different when you're buying a longer feet versus a shorter feet too. Okay, cool. So we may not even need those extensions. So let's see. Because those were like 20 bucks a piece.
So by the way, we're plugged in, so the inverter's off.
So I'm gonna run down there.
None of these panels are on right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna run down there, turn everything on before we obviously mount it and die core and permanently put it on here, because you know we don't know if the panel's defective or not. So we're just gonna run down there and get everything turned on and make sure the numbers are coming up. All right, let's go see how those numbers are doing. Okay, so I unplugged everything and I turned on everything. So this is the battery reading. We're definitely drawing some battery out. Prior to my first recording, it was drawing at 3.2 amps. With that extra solar panel, now we're getting 6.2 amps. So it's working.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna leave it like this for a little bit and check back in later to see how it's doing. It's a pretty sunny day, and we'll check in on this in a little bit. So the battery obviously is definitely dropping because we're not plugged in, but yeah, with that extra solar panel. Alright, so now to get the panels onto the die core, or the mounts. We got that side. Alright, everything's all screwed in, and we're just gonna get it topped off with some more die core to get that, all that like watertight seal and whatnot, and obviously to secure it a lot more. Alright, so we've already lost daylight for a few hours now, so obviously the solar panels aren't going to get any juice flowing through there, but let's see how the batteries are doing. Okay. Batteries are holding up pretty well. Alright, so we're gonna check in the morning and see how the battery does. Guys, it is like 4:30 in the morning. Just wanted to check in on the power. Let's see. Alright, so it dropped down 11.9. So, I mean, that's still not too bad, but it did. I want to say I woke up maybe a few hours ago and I checked it and it was around 12.2. So for the most part, it did almost get us through. I mean, I guess it did get us through the night, but now we have to wait for the sun to come up. Okay, it's 6:35. Okay, so it's jumping back and forth 11. It's still not bad. It looks like daylight is coming out for sure. The sun's gonna be out, and we'll see if this decreases or increases. So I'll keep checking on this throughout the day. Okay, so it's almost noon and it is bright as day outside. We're getting a lot of sunlight hitting the solar panels right now. So let's check. So earlier I checked around 10:30. Look at that. It went back up. That is awesome. So it went back up to the batteries charging from the solar. So the solar is taking on 6.2 amps, and we saw that those numbers yesterday as well. So before the solar panels, it was only taking in like two to three, between 2 to 3, depending on what we had on and all that stuff, and depending on what time I was recording. Because if I was recording early and the sun wasn't hitting it enough, and all those take into account. But yeah, so that's what we're getting now from the 2 solar panels. So that is great news to know that it's almost noon right now and that's what we're getting. So I'm gonna check one more time, maybe towards the end of the day where it's getting like a lot more sun, so the sun's hitting it really well. It's hitting it really well for it to just charge up on its own. So we didn't plug it in. We did not plug in. We did not turn on the generator. Obviously, we're at home. We just kind of let it do its thing. So when we woke up this morning again, I started at 4 a.m. this morning. It was at 11.8, 11.9, and it's almost noon now, and look where we are. That's awesome. So these panels, this one extra 100 is working out really well for us. Alright guys, the sun's starting to go down for the evening. We are going to check this one last time to see how it's going. I want to say it's been jumping back and forth. Yeah, as I expected. It's been jumping back and forth. So yeah, it's just been jumping back and forth between 11.8 to 12, and I mean, I'd prefer it to be at 12, but for the last 24 hours, since we installed the panel and since I've been monitoring it this morning from 4 to, up until this point, it's not bad. The batteries are maintaining its charge. It's not going any lower. And when you think about it, normally when I wake up in the morning, I'll get the generator started because I'm trying to get the coffee started and breakfast started and whatnot. So that the generator would have already given the batteries a little bit of a boost. So for the last 24 hours, just relying on that one extra panel, it's working out great for us. So all in all, we spent about 130. I'm going to be returning those extensions because we didn't need it. In my opinion, this was definitely worth it to add that extra panel. I mean, yes, down the line, once the batteries do take a dump on us, we will definitely start doing all the upgrades and whatnot, but the holidays are around the corner, guys, and I am trying to be as frugal as ever right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining us every weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks, guys.